Hello, my name is Annika Nielsen and I will be presenting my action research plan on measuring student engagement in an English context through creating student-centered experiences and using dialogic teaching pedagogies. My action research plan is about implementing dialogic teaching within a classroom context and will be discussed through the following categories: situational analysis, focus and rationale, engaging experiences, data collection and analytic design, as well as a summary statement to conclude. My school is located in the Western Sydney area. It's a low socioeconomic area with many students living on or below the poverty line. There are about 20% of students within the school who are ELD, and the school provides these students with 1 hour a day to work with the teacher within the school. 25% of students are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, and there are many social and economic hardships within the area that need to be considered by the school. This school has a student-centred approach. The school takes a positive behaviour for learning approach, or PBL, when dealing with students who have shown negative behaviour. They are put in reflection rather than having detention, and this involves, as the name suggests, that students are reflecting on their behaviour regarding why it was wrong and how they can handle the situation better in the future. The school's approach to engagement is utilising technology in the classroom, such as Chromebooks. This is with the consideration that most of the students do not have access to these resources at home. This research project focuses on a Stage 2 Composite Year 3-4 class with 24 students. This classroom has flexible seating options with low and high seating and numerous ICT resources, including an interactive whiteboard and a Chromebook provided for each student. Regarding teachers, there is 1 teacher per classroom and limited SLSOs in the room for the older stages. The classroom teacher utilised 1 hour of her RFF a week to use on conferencing with students individually and heavily aligned herself with the school's PBL approach to. The students within the class had diverse learning needs, in addition to 4 students who had IEPs. The class demonstrated a lack of engagement with writing, however they are motivated by technology, especially Chromebooks and class discussions that involved using their mini whiteboards, as it gave them alternate ways to communicate their thinking. I am planning to implement dialogic teaching strategies with the intention to improve engagement in writing. Dialogic teaching is a 21st century pedagogy that uses talk as a tool for engaging students and learning. It combines the idea of Batkins, that knowledge occurs through talk, and Vygotsky's socio-cultural idea of learning, cited in VAS 2017. Furthermore, VAS 2017 states that the affordances of dialogic pedagogies include promoting interthinking and open-mindedness, where students can formulate collaborative ideas based on what they hear and share in the classroom. On the other hand, the limitations include students being guided in the wrong direction by their peers. However, this is what the role of the teacher is for, to guide discussions. Another limitation is that students who don't usually speak in class might be missing out on key learning, but this can be overcome through creating safe environments, and still, even those who don't talk will still learn through hearing the ideas of their peers. Dialogic teaching links to engaging students through fostering classroom discussions to improve engagement and learning. The aim of this research is to connect the 21st century pedagogical approach of dialogic teaching with considering the low engagement with writing for low SES school to promote better engagement utilising the ME framework. The ME framework from Munn et al. 2013 looks at the links between motivation and engagement and the roles of the teacher to create these environments for students. This framework is particularly valid within low SES schools such as the one my focus is on. This links with my pedagogy of dialogic teaching, which focuses on creating learning experiences through conversations. TO 2019 describes this pedagogy as being most successful when teacher and student relationships are supportive, reciprocal, to create collective, cumulative knowledge within a classroom with the intent to make learning personal, which links back to the focus on engagement and motivation of students within the ME framework. Please view the slides to see my 3 learning experiences. Throughout the implementation of my action research plan, I aim to collect and analyse data through the use of observations, work samples, and student self-assessment. Throughout the teaching and learning experiences, the classroom teacher will complete observations of student learning and understanding. Cohen et al. 2018 states that this formative assessment allows authentic representation of student learning, understanding, and engagement. Teachers will write brief notes about each student in an observation folder to gather information using the table displayed in the slide to write the markers for engagement, including verbal and written contributions, as well as other additional comments. Collection of data occurs throughout the lesson, taking notes both during and after class to analyse collected later at the end of each teaching and learning experiences. Teachers will mark and make note of what is working for students and what needs further attention, using the syllabus outcomes. This will be used to support and extend on observation data that will be collected, as previously mentioned. For lessons where work samples cannot be collected, the teacher or SLSO may take photos of student learning in action, for example when students are completing work on the mini whiteboards. Once work is marked, students will have the opportunity to look over the teacher's annotations, which leads me into my next method. Lastly, for students to undergo self-assessment at the conclusion of every teaching and learning experiences, students will fill out a small exit slip that will have zones to demonstrate how they feel about the concepts taught. This is demonstrated in the slide here. The purpose of asking students about their feelings is to gauge their levels of engagement and motivation to be improved in the future. Students are encouraged to reflect on their strengths as well as their weaknesses, to support a strength-based approach, as well as providing students with the opportunity to create their own personal goal, making them more accountable for their own learning. This will allow for students to reflect on their own learning while providing the teacher with information on motivation and engagement, as well as confidence to use in future planning. Using these 3 data collection strategies, I will be able to measure student engagement and understanding through dialogic pedagogy. However, there are limitations to these strategies that impact the data, but when these are used together, they make up what the other lacks by using other mediums of collecting data. Cohen et al. 2018 states that observational data is beneficial in accounting for classroom dynamics and behaviour, as well as being time efficient when completed properly. However, it does lack in being comprehensive data that can be shown to other teachers or parents, but when used in conjunction with work samples, it becomes a supportive piece of evidence to show engagement as well as learning. Manwaring et al. 2018 states that work samples are an explicit presentation proof of learning, that unlike observations, it can be shown to others. However, it does typically limit the demonstration of knowledge to only one medium, which is usually the written format, especially in English, which is why effective planning is essential to consider these factors. Student engagement would be measured by using the 3 markers of engagement from the ME framework in Munn et al. 2013. Including high affective, operative, and cognitive markers. High affective engagement will be noticed through observing how students feel about the learning. This is demonstrated within the exit slips mentioned earlier to show deep value of learning and creativity within responses, and the student-teacher working together to create these ideas. High cognitive thinking focuses on the student's higher end thinking and deepened understanding of the content represented in work samples and observed critical thinking during discussions. High operative thinking looks at the student's actions and active effort within learning experiences. When applying knowledge that is learned, this is best demonstrated through observational data. I'll be measuring data on student learning and motivation in line with the 2012 K-10 English syllabus from NESA, in combination with the ME framework from Munn et al. 2013. The purpose of this is that the syllabus assists in meeting learning outcomes, and the ME framework assists in promoting learning through motivation and engagement to meet these outcomes through the consideration of students' thoughts, feelings, and efforts into the task. Overall, data would be measured through the following criteria: dialogic teaching, student engagement through lessons, high cognitive, affective, and operative markers, analysing student work for support needs, and syllabus outcomes are met or exceeded. Through undertaking this research project, I've reflected on how I intend to plan and teach differently, based on understanding students' engagement and motivation to learn in line with the ME framework from Munn et al. 2013, especially considering that I work in lower socioeconomic areas. If I were to undertake this project, I'd expect to find better outcomes in writing and more students being excited to learn in English rather than finding it something boring and that they are required to do. I would hope to engage students that are working below grade and thus improve their outcomes as a result of engaging and motivating them to learn. On reflection of this project, I've extended my knowledge on how to meet the displayed AITSL 2017 teaching standards, through understanding that there needs to be a continuous process between data collection and assessment, and that the student should be an active participant within this process to effectively teach and assess. I will not only use student outcomes, but consider engagement as well. To reinforce all I have learned in this process, I'll continue to engage in relevant professional learning to continue to grow in teaching with the purpose of motivation of engagement of all students. Overall, I plan to continue to grow as an educator by focusing on planning engaging learning experiences so that students are active participants in their own education.